Welcome to the University of Washington. Today, we will briefly discuss records management at the university. First, what is records management? It is the application of systematic control to recorded information. It is a logical and practical approach to the creation, maintenance, use, and disposition of records, and therefore to the information those records contain. What does that mean really? Records management provides the infrastructure to be in compliance with state and federal rules and statutes. State law, the Revised Code of Washington, specifically calls out the preservation and destruction of public records. RCW 40.14 defines a record, it establishes authority for records retention and destruction, and then it requires the records management program at the university. Defined in RCW 40.14.010, all recorded information created or received at the university, regardless of format, is a record. So, this means anything you create or receive as an employee of the university is considered a record. Excel spreadsheets, Word documents, databases, social media postings, everything, regardless of the device you create or receive it on, and who owns it. That includes cell phones and tablets. As a university employee, your compliance responsibility is to create only the records needed to perform your job duties. If a record is created, it must be retained per the legally approved records retention schedule. And these records must be maintained in an appropriate storage location or on equipment, backed up if electronic, secure if confidential. It is extremely important to take the time to identify and protect records vital to your office in case of a disaster. At the end of the retention period, these records must be disposed of appropriately, shredded, recycled, deleted, or in some cases transferred to the University of Washington archives. The university retention schedules will tell you how to dispose of each record type. The past few minutes, we have discussed how records management is a compliance function at the university. However, following records management best practices also has a strong business case as well. By being in compliance, you are not only reducing costs, but also able to make your work life easier. Well-organized records can reduce frustration by easily locating records when needed, not having to spend time looking for a record that is misplaced or mislabeled, and it allows you to focus on delivering to your clients, your colleagues, and the public, which is what you were hired to do. Reducing risks and costs while improving service, those are all the benefits of implementing records management at your department. And the bottom line is this: if you are following the legally approved retention schedule, you eliminate the need to produce records for a public records request, audit, or litigation. This is a huge time savings for you and your office, but it's also a large dollar savings to the university. Time and money, two things that everyone can appreciate and understand. At this point of this presentation, you may feel a wee bit overwhelmed. You have records everywhere. You have paper, electronic. Some are coming from a centralized university system and, email. Oh my word. And it is true. Your office does create a lot of records. Please know this. You are not out there alone. Most systems and business processes have been in place for a long time. And the UW Records Management Program has been there all along to assist as your department changed and grew. In some cases, the purging of records is already built into your business flow. So, with that in mind, follow these steps. Manage the records by their content, not their format. We've already spoken about how records are both electronic and paper-based. Email is not considered a record category. What is in the email, the content, determines the record retention category of the individual email. Once you have identified the content of the record, a purchase for example, then you can locate that record on the university general schedule. Apply the retention schedule to that record. Once you know the retention for these purchases, you can begin organizing your records in such a way that it is easy to apply the retention for all of the purchases for a particular month. So, for this example, place all the paper records into a folder labeled Purchases with the year and the month, and do the exact same for the electronic receipts. In fact, you can even add the disposition date to the folder for an easy reminder. By keeping your records organized, it becomes much easier to apply the retention. Many of the questions we receive most frequently revolve around the records which are in a centralized system, Workday, Student Database, My Financial Desktop, etc. The answer is simple. If your office is not the owner of the system, then any paper or electronic records you retrieve from those systems are considered duplicates, and they can be disposed of as soon as your administrative need has been met. Email, on the other hand, is your responsibility. If it is in your email account, you are responsible for applying retention to the content of the emails. Depending upon your position at the university, will determine the types of emails you receive. About 30% of your emails will need to be retained for a specific retention period, student interaction, purchases, any type of approval, etc. The remainder of the records are more transitory, and though they have a legally approved retention, it is once your administrative purpose has been served and may be deleted at any time. For those records which do have a specific retention period, do yourself a favor and identify them and place them into folders and subfolders, which will make it much easier to manage. For example, if your desk is responsible for managing student waivers of some sort, the retention is 6 years after the student has graduated or no longer attends the university. So, create a cohort folder for each of the students. As you work with them, place their finished waivers into this subfolder. Once they have graduated, put that folder into another folder titled Purge at whatever date the 6 years from graduation is. This way, you don't have to dive into each subfolder, decide who is active and who is not. You have done the work as you went along. Let's talk for a moment about drafts. These can be an easy first step to taming that email inbox because you can delete any draft after the next version has been created. There is no need to keep them, and by deleting them, you avoid accidentally working on an outdated version of a document. Finally, let's talk about attachments. Sometimes, even most of the time, the attachment is the valuable record and not the actual email. For example, I receive emails that say, "Please see attached for your review." And that is all the email states. The content of the attachment may have a retention, whereas the actual email is much more transitory. So what do? Save the attachment into a shared drive or SharePoint and delete the email. Speaking of shared drives and SharePoint, this can be a challenging space to consistently apply records retention. Many hands in the kitchen can make great work, but it can leave a bit of a mess. In a shared space, everyone is responsible for making sure the records are organized and deleted at the end of the retention period. Some departments have successfully identified some common naming conventions for their shared space. This really helps keep everyone on the same page. On an annual basis, we recommend closing folders and opening new ones for easier management of the records. For the closed folders, change the title to include the purge date for those records. Records management is one of those tricky subjects that, on the face of it, it is a simple concept. Where it can get complicated is actually applying the records management retention to your records. Please know you are not alone. Our office is here to help. We have a robust website which lists all of the retention schedules at the university. We are just a phone call away, and we can help you manage email, shared directories, and databases. We are happy to consult with you on an individual or group level about your records. Also, we hold free training annually, and we are happy to hold smaller training sessions at your department. Together, we can ensure the records at the University of Washington are managed. Are you ready to begin? Contact us with questions. Let's do this together. We are happy to help. Thank you for your time.